Welcome back, everybody. It's Office Hours. It is episode 851. The soul of business, and the soul of the soul of business is back from Egypt. He has witnessed the aliens. He has seen it all. The caves, the caverns, the obelisks of the world. The double B, Blaine Bartlett. Welcome back to Office Hours.
It is a pleasure to be back. And I bring a bug from Egypt with me.
I am with you. I brought a bug from Cabo, a different kind of bug. It made me look like I'm on a Ozempic. I lost a good 10 pounds in 2 days.
Hey, that's interesting. I lost 10 pounds on this trip. I don't know how that was possible.
Exactly. Nothing like getting sick to lose weight. But more importantly, there's a lot of power in that. And speaking of power, you know our friend, the bestseller himself, Rhett Power. Welcome back. He's been carrying the Office Hours load for both of us as we've been traveling. Thank you, my friend, for carrying the load.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we don't waste any time here on Office Hours. We're into about 4,400 different guests that have been on over the 851 or so episodes. Amit has been waiting patiently in the green room. Let's bring him right on. Amit Chitre is here, best-selling author like you, Rhett, and CEO and founder at R3 Communications. Welcome, my friend Amit, to Office Hours.
Thank you. Great to see you. Great to be here.
Great to see you as well. And it's amazing. You actually look a lot like my cousin Danny Meltzer. I thought for a second when I quickly came on, I'm like, what's my cousin Danny doing here? But, you know, I have a very popular podcast. It's called The Playbook.
Right.
And I was so excited to see that somebody wrote a new book called The Other Playbook.
The Other Playbook. That's
right. But
it
does deal with similar things in my background and experience, learning brand lessons that every student athlete needs to know. But like a lot of the most important lessons, we don't teach them. Anybody that's gone to med school knows that about business. You know, all the things you need to know about running a medical practice, they don't teach you in medical school or law school, that's for sure. I'm going to start. This is an area I know a lot about. So I'm actually curious to know, what are some of the hidden things that nobody's teaching?
Well, when it comes to student athletes, I think the biggest thing that they aren't teaching students is you already have a brand, whether you realize it or not. And, you know, that's kind of the point of the Other Playbook. We talk to these student athletes about the plays and the offenses and the defenses that they have to run. And we give them, you know, the playbook to do those things. But all of the other things to be successful in the sport and in class and in life, there really is no playbook for that. You know, my wife and I, we have 3 boys who are all student athletes, and they played multiple sports, and I was involved in coaching them growing up. And coaches and schools often talk to their kids about, you know, these are the values that you have to live by. These are the rules that you have to follow. But we don't allow students any ownership of what are the values that they want to stand for. And then how do you develop those values? And so the Other Playbook is that side of being successful. It's helping student athletes identify the best version that they want to be, and then help them create that plan so that they are successful, not just in sports, but in school and in life. So
I will tell you, Amit, you know, I was a below average college football player, and I look at that experience. People ask me with the successes and failures, mistakes, but the successes that I've had of all the different schooling, from graduate schools, business school, law school, undergrad at a very competitive college, the greatest experience for my success was being a below average college football player. And what I learned through that, luckily for me, where I played football, they were interested in the Other Playbook and were deeply concerned to make sure that we were going to be successful in what we do. I know both of these gentlemen have college athletes in their families as well. And in fact, Blaine Bartlett was a Division I gymnast as a Duck, I believe. So he knows the playbook has changed over the years. There wasn't a lot of NIL money back then for male gymnasts at Oregon, but I'm sure he probably turned on the sprinklers for free or something. Blaine, what do you got?
Well, I'm intrigued with the Other Playbook notion of, and we're talking about this in the context of individuation. Yeah, when people, kids start to grow up and they start separating from the family system, now they have an opportunity, if they're positioned well and if the system can position them well, to begin to identify what's of value to them. So whose life am I actually leading? And that's an interesting question for people to wrestle with. In the work that you're doing with these student athletes, that and it is a migration. I really think it is a migration, and sometimes it's a painful one because, the family wants to keep hold of stuff. And how do you actually work with these student athletes to begin, number one, to identify the importance of identifying their own value system, and then how do they begin to articulate that as they separate from what was into what could be?
That's a great question. And I look at it from my professional lens. So my background's in communications. I started my career as a TV news reporter in small to mid-sized markets around the country. I spent some time as a PR executive, both at an agency and a national nonprofit. And then recently with R3 Communications, I'm a communications coach and a consultant. But the common thread throughout all of that is storytelling. And it's, what story are you telling? And is it the story that you want people to see? And so, Blaine, getting to your question, how do you get students to look at it? I encourage them to look at themselves like a product. And I say, you are a product just like a cell phone or a car. And these companies with products spend hundreds of millions of dollars to make sure you feel a certain way when you engage with that product. There's a reason you feel a certain way when you walk into a Starbucks. They think about the lighting, the smell, in addition to the product itself and the price and the packaging. They are intentional about it. And so as student athletes, again, you have a brand whether you realize it or not. So you need to be intentional about what it is you stand for. Think of yourself as a product. If you were building the best version of Blaine Bartlett, what would that look like? What are the things you would want to stand for? And then once you identify those things, let's build a plan to help you get there. Because getting back to David's question about the lessons, another lesson is your brand isn't what you say it is, it's what you do, the behavior. So it's not just identifying those brand values of, I want to be a leader, I want to be a team player, I want to be a gym rat. It's what are the things you're doing to drive those brand values.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, I learned something new today. I learned that I was truly a below average college wrestler. And I now have a new word for what I was.
Yeah. It took me a while to admit it. I used to tell everyone I was an average. And then my football coach in college, he was on a podcast with me. He goes, let's be honest, you were below average. And I said, all right, fair enough.
But you were on the team.
But you were on the team.
I played. Every once in a while, we got far enough ahead. I played. It was good.
I do have to tell a story. So my first wrestling match in college, I wrestled this guy who was an alternate on the Olympic team. And I remember we went to the mat. This is at University of North Carolina. Shook his hand. 7 seconds. I was on my back. At that moment, I realized that there are good athletes, which I was, I thought. And then there are like these super athletes, and there is definitely a difference. But
I'm with you. Christian Okoye ran me over my very first college play. He stepped on me. And I laid on my back saying doctor, lawyer, or failure, because that's what my mom kept telling me.
Wow.
I can't imagine you were seeing anything like the star, the little cartoon stars kind of. So the question is, at 19 or 20, I don't know that I would have gotten this. How do you get kids to see? Because I'd love to get my 20-year-old, 21-year-old to get this, right? Because you're thinking, you're not thinking this way.
Yeah, it's interesting. As I was going through the process, one of my boys who now plays soccer in college said, Dad, this is a great idea, but kids my age, we don't like to read. And I said, it's a great point. You probably won't pick up the book on your own, but if your coach asks you to do it, or if I ask you, hey, read this book, you probably will. And sure enough, before he set foot on his college soccer field, his coach had the team read a leadership book, and they had weekly Zoom meetings to discuss it prior to them coming on campus, so that they were setting the culture before the team got there. And so this is designed in that way to some respect. It's a chapter by chapter. It's very simple. It's got exercises and thought questions that you answer right in the book. So it is your playbook, and you develop your plan. And so teams can do it together and discuss a chapter at a time. A coach can do it with a player, or a parent can do it with their child. And really getting the students to think about themselves as a product, that's been the game changer, because it's something that college players can think about. It's something that high school players can think about. And I've had some coaches say, hey, I've got middle school or little league kids that will get this on a certain level. And so when I talk about brand value, what I do in the book and in my trainings is I'll show logos of different companies and say, what do you feel when you see Nike or Under Armour? Or it doesn't even have to be sports related, but I get them thinking about brand value. And then I say, okay, let's try the same exercise with people. And I'll show them pictures of athletes. What do you feel when you see Simone Biles, or pick any Olympic athlete that we're watching right now? And you'll get a wide range of opinions, especially if the person's controversial, if it's a Colin Kaepernick or something like that. And I'll say, well, isn't it interesting? You have very strong opinions of someone you've never met. Well, people you have never met will have strong opinions about you. What do you want them to feel? What do you want that story to be? And that's when they realize, like, wait a second, I am being judged by more than my performance on the field. And that's how we build off, okay, well, then what do you want to stand for, and how do we get there?
So smart. I want everybody out there to listen to the Playbook podcast, but more importantly, read the Other Playbook. If you have any kids surrounding you in any way as a coach, a leader, a teacher, a mentor, or a parent, I suggest this interactive way to understand and to implement brand at a very young age will be crucially important. Brand is our community. It consists of authenticity as well as essence. It's a frequency that makes us feel a certain way. And there's definitely advantages as well as disadvantages if you don't take care of your brand. Let's all learn what no one teaches today, the Other Playbook from the amazing Amit Chitre. Promise us you'll come back and visit us. Stay warm up there in Rochester. We know you need it. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Great seeing you. Thank you.
Thanks, Amit.
I thought for sure he was going to talk hockey, but he was talking soccer out of Rochester. That's all right. Just as a FYI, women's ice hockey beat Canada in overtime. So we took gold there. Not too bad. All right, let's move on from hockey to the Other Playbook. We have our next friend waiting in the wings. Lisa Holt is in the house in a much warmer location, founder and CEO at Ivy Risk Strategies. And we also are talking about branding and what makes it stand out, and what's it like being a woman and a minority founder and a business leader. You're speaking my language, Lisa Holt. I think the biggest atrocity of entrepreneurship is less than 2% of women are funded. And I have a Meltzer funding for women and women of color for that very reason, because they're the best bet of if you want to make money, the best where to put your money. Speaking of that, thank you for joining us.
Just keep talking. Keep saying everything you're saying. I agree with. So
I hope
keep
so.
Going. You're taking the words right out of my mouth.
But you help people and your clients rethink how to build wealth. And you remind me of a younger Sharon Lecter, one of my mentors. And she talks about assets being sexy and fun.
I love that. I love that.
If you haven't seen her or listened to her, you guys will be best friends very quickly. She's an amazing mentor as well. Give me an idea of what mistakes women are making. I have a saying, if you'll never overachieve your own self-image. And there's I'm a father of 3 daughters and a son, and I'm constantly looking at building the self-image of my daughters, knowing that they'll never overachieve their self-image. And this image problem exists far outside of my home, my parenting, and the influence I have. Do you, number one, think that's a problem, that there's too many negative influences on self-image? And two, especially concerning money, this is even an exacerbated issue for women to overcome.
Definitely. I hesitate sometimes to draw the distinction that what women suffer from, because I think in so many ways that can apply to so many, right?
It does.
And then I also have the unpopular opinion that has been met with a lot of discourse and adversarial commentary, but resistance, let's call it resistance, that I feel like a lot of times when you highlight what women are going through or any minority is going through, you are almost creating this, I don't want to call it like a victim mentality, but sometimes I feel like if we just leveled the playing field and we weren't always talking about what women go through or what men go through, or, because a lot of it, even when it comes to what you're saying with the way you look at yourself, boys and men are going through the same thing. It's just not talked about. We can argue that society makes it harder on us. Sure, yes, but it's something that we all deal with and function with and around. So it can be difficult. You said something earlier about, when it does come to making insurance sexy, that wasn't what I intentionally came out to say or do, because obviously, it's almost like too obvious to play into I'm a female, whatever, blonde, this, that. What it really is about is, yes, it's a pun, but insurance is sexy in so many ways. The industry itself is so exciting and we have so much passion for it. And that passion then in turn just starts producing results and options and innovation and creativity that no one else is thinking about. So I do love leaning into the insurance is sexy, but the most important takeaway for me on that is I'm literal when I say the business itself is sexy.
There's a book that Richard Bach wrote years ago.
I don't know if it's on my end, but I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can hear you, Blaine. I can hear you,
me?
Oh no, not again.
All right, Rhett, ask a question, Rhett, while we get Blaine fixed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Blaine. I want to hear.
So, Lisa, I'm curious about your quantum ripple effect coaching method. Can you talk about that?
My quantum ripple effect coaching method. You're saying when it comes to my clients and the consultative nature of what I do?
Yeah. What does that look like? And I mean, we have a lot of people listening who, they're looking for help and they're looking for advice. And I just want to know, I want you to help them see what this is so that if it resonates with anybody that they can reach out.
Yeah, no, thank you. Again, when it comes to insurance, you might as well say that you work for the IRS and you're there to audit their taxes, right? Like it brings the same sentiment, same type of response, and sometimes a visceral reaction. So for us, it's number one, we are here to align with the same interests, and that's purchasing as little insurance as possible. It's very unconventional because a lot of the times you have a lot of big brokerages or agencies that they have numbers to meet and they push a lot of products that are unnecessary. And that is driving a lot of the dislike and disdain for the industry. And then you couple that with the fact that there's so many things that people aren't looking at. Most insurance buyers are buying in the guaranteed cost marketplace. And majority of agents don't even understand or know about these alternative risk strategies that you can deploy. And this is where insurance gets sexy. And this is what I'm talking about. It's these areas where you can create your own captive insurance agency. We have fronting characters. There's parametric triggers. There's so many exciting nuances to different insurance products. And I don't even want to call it insurance products. They're actually more risk financing structures to where you're moving certain dollars from one risk to another strategically. And eventually you can turn it into leverage and make it the opposite of a sunk cost.
Changed my life. I wish somebody would have taught me that. Can you hear Blaine? Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Hello?
I wish, am I muting you, Blaine? I don't know how to do that, but
I wish I could mute him.
Rhett, you can hear me? David, you can hear me?
If I figure it out, I'll let you know.
He's so handsome, but why do you need to hear him?
It is a very pretty face.
Where else can you find three middle-aged white men that are talking about risk? So I'm going to take over Blaine for a quick last question. This idea changed my life in understanding, as you say, insurance and the leverage and asset-based lending. And until I lost everything, I had no idea how important it is and how historically secure it is, because who created these laws and who has utilized them. And so, one of the rules I've learned in tax and insurance is follow the people who have the most money, because they've made the laws. And it's not a very difficult thing to understand how secure and how sexy it is. And it's ridiculous, some of the things. And I think that works against itself because of these agents that don't know what they're doing, and they don't understand the alignment of your own timing and risk tolerance. And so they put people into things that they shouldn't be put into, when the things they are put into are extremely, extremely profitable and extremely safe. But if you put the wrong person in the wrong place, it's a disaster. And then now with social media, every one of these products, look up any one of the products that you mentioned or of, they have such a shitty reputation because of the agent, not because of the product.
That's right. That's right. And like you said, it comes to understanding. Like, I encourage my clients to take on risk. I'm all about it. I get excited when they have a high risk tolerance and appetite. But so it's not, like you just said, it's not that things go wrong at the end. It's just that there wasn't an education component on the front end, and the buyers didn't know what they were getting into. And so there were mismatched expectations.
Yeah, and it takes people like you that understand the strategies, but more importantly, can align the risk strategy with the actual products that exist out there. Because there's something for everyone, but most people don't take the time to learn about it. And that's why I encourage everyone to reach out to Lisa. There's something for everyone. And if you want to make a lot of money and help a lot of people and have a lot of fun, there's no better way, no fun way or sexy way to do it than understanding how to take advantage of risk and risk strategies. Check out the CEO and founder of IV Risk Strategies. We'll have Blaine give you a call so you can answer his questions. I know he's
I'd like that. Please do, Blaine.
And I'll call you and ask you a question.
He has his own podcast too, and his mute doesn't work on his own podcast. You can hear him on my podcast. We turn him on and off. I'm sorry about that, Blaine. Just smile, look handsome. You're kind of like
we'll have a one-on-one.
You're kind of like Brad Pitt of Office Hours. Just sit there and look pretty. All right, we're good. Thank you, Lisa, so much for joining us.
It was great speaking to you all.
Thank you.
We're still here on episode 851 of Office Hours, the soul of business and the soul of the soul of business. Hopefully his volume will work with Lauren. She's waiting.
Well, just double check here. Can you hear me now?
We could hear you the whole time.
We can hear you.
Okay.
I don't know why she couldn't. Let's see if Lauren can hear you though. I'm going to let you ask the first question as we introduce an entrepreneur, a transformational facilitator. Facilitator means she makes it easy, and a life and somatic coach. Our friend Lauren Salon is here with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you all.
I hope you can hear Blaine because he has the first question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
There is a God.
So weird.
Well, the question here, I mean, your portfolio is pretty expansive in terms of what you're up to and actually where you're focusing. I'm interested in part the somatic element. Yeah, I'm certified as a master somatic coach. And the idea of that integration, I mean, everybody's got a body, we carry it with us everywhere. So it's a great laboratory. When I'm coaching, I've had people on the table and just what happens somatically. So how are you using somatics to inform the work that you're doing with your clients?
Absolutely. So one of the things I got into somatics mainly for myself to start, because as you know, Blaine, it's one of those things where you could understand the problems, understand the limiting beliefs, like have a very deep intellectual and conceptual, like cognitive understanding of what's going on, why you're doing the things, all of that, and saying like, hey, when these factors happen, or when I'm triggered this way, this happens, and it like, and here's the pattern, right? You can understand it so well on that level, and yet still have those same things happen, right? Or still see that pattern show up in different ways, different iterations. And so for me personally, there were things that I would feel that way about. And I'd be like, okay, I get this. And I see it coming. I see the problem coming and I see the pattern starting to come alive in my body. And yet I hope I handle it differently this time. And then it would kind of go the same way it always went. Right.
Yep.
And so that was for me, the big thing where I was like, okay, there has to be a different approach to this. And so that's how it started for me was, okay, how do we clear this stuff out of the way and get to whatever that is that's blocking it? Because it's not my brain, or at least the part of my brain that I'm aware of, right? It's not my brain because I'm thinking through it, right? And it's very logical how to avoid this, but how do we break that habit and that pattern on a subconscious level from where it's operating from? And so that's how I got into it for myself, for breaking those limiting beliefs and getting through blocks that I was feeling. And then in the work that I do with women, right, it's so much of that inner wiring. And I work with a lot of women who tend to be very intellectual, right? And go-getters, high achiever women who often are in their heads a lot. And so it's that work of, okay, how do we get back into the body for one? And then we don't have to figure out the problem. Like, you don't have to figure out the solution and know exactly why it's happening to release it and to clear that pattern. And so that's a lot of the work, is like supporting women who tend to lean a little into like over intellectualize things, especially when it comes to emotions, and how we can release stuff and clear stuff out of the way.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it reminds me, just as a follow-on, just comment here more than anything else. James Joyce wrote a book called The Dubliners. He's famous for the for Ulysses, but the opening line in The Dubliners, Mr. Duffy lived a short distance from his body, and I think that's a perfect description for why it's important to connect. Because I live in my body, and it is patterned. Everything, and the emotional wiring, it gets patterned. So I just applaud the work that you're doing, Lauren. I think that's great.
Thank you, absolutely.
Rhett, number 2 on the queue.
Well, I'm going to ask every guest tonight about their quantum ripple effect coaching method.
Certification I did. It was fantastic. Loved it. Definitely recommend.
Is it so? For people listening, though, is it what is it about? What do you go through? How does it help them?
Yeah. So as far as that certification that I did, or the kind of coaching that I did,
the kind of coaching, because you have a coaching method, or is this? I mean, this is your own method, right?
So the quantum ripple effect certification was a certification program that I took when I was being trained in all of this.
Okay.
But you're certified in NLP, a lot of different somatic techniques, whether that's NLP, EFT, time techniques, tapping, there's hypnotherapy. There's a lot of different methodologies. Okay. So no, the certification is not my program, but definitely highly recommend it. But a lot of the work that I do is centered around women who have been who are the high achieving, like powerhouse go-getter woman who most of the time has spent her life largely living from her masculine energy and has achieved a lot of amazing things in her life, has, for all assumptions, a very impressive, amazing, quote unquote, successful life from the outside. But the women that I work with are often feeling like they're just exhausted on a soul level, like they're been stuck in this kind of go kind of pattern for their whole lives. A lot of them are like, okay, yeah, I have all this amazing accomplishments, and yet my love life or my dating life, it's not where I feel like it should be for how amazing I am, if you will, right? And so what we do, we incorporate a lot of these somatic practices into the work with these women, because again, like I was talking to Blaine, right? It's like, okay, a lot of these women are living a little bit disconnected from their body, a little bit outside of their body, or very much in their head. So it's okay, how do we reconnect with the body, reconnect with your intuition, learn how to trust yourself more, clear out those patterns and those blocks that have caused you to be so like hyper intellectualized and so living from your head and from that energetic standpoint. And so it's a lot about, okay, how do we recalibrate the nervous system, clear those subconscious blocks, regulate the nervous system so much more, become more emotionally attuned, right? Like more in tune with our emotions, but also a master of them. So not at the mercy of them. So lots of different modalities that we can tap into depending on what someone's struggling with and what they want to have a breakthrough in, and then also what appears to be effective. So there's a lot of different tools in the toolbox, but the underlying unifier is that it's working with the subconscious mind and the nervous system.
And
thank you.
these guys are figuring out it's not so easy to go first, and it's such a luxury to go last. And Lauren, you and I share so many different experiences and techniques, modalities, and methodologies. As a quantum healer, I understand theoretically and spiritually at a higher level the human experience. But in the end, you also are an entrepreneur. You even are and deal with STRs all the time, Airbnb and short-term rentals.
Yeah.
But what I really find fascinating and extraordinary about what you do is most people that are trained like we are, all four of us, by the way, not, as you know, Blaine is the master of all. But those that are trained at a higher quantum level as a quantum healer, one of the difficulties is to deal with the human experience. And you're dealing with the higher performances within the big bosses, the boss babes, as you call them. And I've been blessed, and my friends have been blessed to work with the billionaires, millionaires, entrepreneurs, celebrities, athletes, and entertainers in that area. But you take the information that you've learned and you offer more practical, accessible insights that people can immediately apply. And there's no gamification of it of, oh, you know, and I see all types of healers do this, you know, very quantum, very theoretical, but you get so busy involved in all this shit, you don't enjoy your human experience, or you don't make any money. Like nothing ever happens practically in your life. Although I think maybe in your next lifetime, you'll be cooler. But I want to live this life. What's one practical insight that people can apply immediately to make an impact on their practical human experience?
Yeah. Oh gosh. I think one practical insight, I mean, the thing that's coming up most is like, don't take it all so seriously. Sometimes like that's the best tip, right? Like, because I think one of the traps that we as healers and when we're into spirituality and stuff can fall into is that idea that like, oh, what's the next layer of healing I need to do? Or if there's this block, I need to dig into it this way, or there's always something to workshop, right? And that I think can be a huge trap in and of itself that often is when I see other healers and people in like the consciousness space and that kind of stuff that are just kind of spiraling and it, like you said, like not making much money or whatever. They're often one of the reasons stuck in this endless cycle of what's the next thing to heal? What's the next thing? Instead of, okay, but I'm also a human and I get to live my life and enjoy my life, right? And I like, as much as I don't want to be in the 3D, right? And stuff like that, realizing, but wait, you also live in the 3D. So you do get to participate in it. You can't just be sitting at home, being in the quantum sphere and like healing all the energetic stuff only all day long, right? Like, I mean, I guess you can, but you have to like, you know, go be a monk or something like that, right? But so that's, I think one of the simplest things, which probably easier said than done, is it doesn't have to all be so serious all the time, and to like give yourself some grace also, right? And that you do get to enjoy living life and being a human. And sometimes the reason something didn't happen the way that you wanted is because it just didn't, not because you didn't meditate correctly or there was some block in there, right? It's not always some really specific problem that's like originating from you that you need to fix. I think that's one of the things that hopefully is very liberating. Like, don't, like,
I love practical. I love asking, you know, whether it's with TLC people or some of the top business coaches in this space. I love when they get so out there. I always love to say, man, the infinite's really big, isn't it? Because if you're fucking stuck in the infinite, you're going to be stuck there a really long time. You started going down that hole. I got this to work on. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. How about just maybe trying to keep your heart beating and sleep right, eat right, drink right, move right. Those are good things. And I like understanding it, but I'm here to enjoy my human experience. I know you are as well. We look forward to doing more with you, Lauren.
Absolutely.
And I love the approach you're taking, especially with women and high achieving women in that manner as well, to help them work where they are at to get to where they want to be. And that's really what I see you doing. Lauren Salon is a leader, an entrepreneur, facilitator, life and somatic coach. She's here to guide you and to inspire you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it.
Jumbo. Awesome.
Jumbo.
All right, gentlemen, my favorite part of the day. This is where I get an MBA a day. I get your takeaways of the day. We'll start age before beauty. Blaine Bartlett, you're up.
Takeaway today is I'm glad to be here. First of all, this 3-week hiatus stuff just sucks. I mean, I've been missing this.
Vacations are fun until you go on them.
They are, exactly. I'm going to take another week to recover here. But our 3 guests today, for me, I think the big one has to do, and I think Lauren actually touched on it very nicely here, just being able to be in the human condition. I mean, you actually mentioned this as well, David. It's real easy to get trapped by the thought that we need to fix something. There's nothing broken. There's nothing broken. And yeah, if I meditate to get away from my life, that's not going to work for me. I want to be able to meditate in my life as I'm doing the cooking. Meditate on being the best human being I can be while I'm washing the dishes. I mean, that every thought creates a karmic flow to it. Speaking of the infinite, but I want to be able to be mindful about how I'm working this. And I just celebrate all 3 of our guests today because they, I think, spoke to that in very different ways, but it was the same theme. Just be the best you that you can be as you're doing it.
Yeah, I gotta go with that because this is the second or third time this has come up in conversations today. So I think maybe that's why we were having this conversation for me tonight anyway. We can get so caught up in that, in our taxes, in our insurance, in our kids' lives, and all the things that are out there that get us spun up, and that we spend so much time laboring over and worrying about and getting stressed out about. And I just love what she's talking about. Like, I know what you're talking about, David. It's like, sit back and enjoy some of it. And life is going to happen, and there's so many things you got to pay attention to, but damn, try to enjoy some of it. Yeah,
it's so good. I'm going to, obviously it was resonating with me. What are you doing to interfere with that? There's nothing to fix. It's what are you doing to interfere with that which is. But I'm going to also just talk about, I thought that everyone had the other playbook. If you look at all 3 people, they just had playbooks that other people don't teach. And it's one of the reasons I love to be mentored by Blaine. He's teaching from a different playbook than in business, not all the spiritual stuff that we talk about on tequila, but like real business stuff. It's a different playbook. And I'm always searching for, the light, the love, and the lesson. Therefore, I'm learning the other playbook, not the one that everybody else is playing from. And, it's funny when you're playing, to beat somebody because of their weaknesses, you'll win. But when you play to beat people with their strength, you'll break them. If you want to compete, you play from a position of, I'm going to play against their strength, not their weakness. And I like the other playbook, and I'm always looking for the other playbook. And these people are teaching another playbook, ones that you can't really find anywhere. And I know you guys play that game. I play that game, and life's a lot more fun that way. And I really appreciate you guys playing with us here on the Soul of Business. Blaine Bartlett, welcome back. Rhett Power, thanks for carrying us. You can take your back brace off now. Besides, I'm 10 pounds lighter. I'm 10 pounds lighter now. You can carry me. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Guys are possible.
Yeah.
I'm like the size of a gymnast now. This is amazing.
I'm gonna go get a massage now.
There you go. Okay.
I'll see you guys next week. This has been episode 851, The Soul of Business Office Hours. Send my love.
Take care, guys.
Adios. All right, everyone. That's it. Just remember, we'll be in Chicago tomorrow. VIP dinner sold out. John Lee, Jim Quick, Richard Dolan, myself, even Chris Gardner may show up from the Soul of the Pursuit of Happiness. Vegas Office Hours Season 10. We have Go Fund Yourself, the #1 show on Cheddar in Los Angeles, Expo West in Anaheim. These are all meetups, holding courts, interviews, VIP dinners, and speeches. Houston Aspire Tour. I'm on those with the best crew in the world, the biggest, best business tour in the world. Back to Orange County for a mastermind, then Vegas again for Office Hours or Season 10 in Phoenix. That's how you get to 200 cities a year. You just figure out what you're doing to interfere with it. It's an infinite amount of energy. Stop interfering with it. If you want to be informed or invited, it's 949-298-2905. Please buy Don't Do Business with Dicks. If you do, let me know. I'll send the rest of my books, David, at dmeltzer.com. I'll sign them, send them to you, pay for shipping in the book. But let me know if you buy. You don't got to prove it. Just let me know. It'll change your life if you don't do business with dicks, if you ditch the toxicity and surround yourself with positive influences. That's what we're trying to do here every day on Office Hours. But remember, most importantly, be kind. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Hit it, Gigi.
Yeah.